What would you advise if someone's going to relocate here, say a family or a solo entrepreneur, and they're looking to like buy property, and they from the UK, for example, should they first come here, get the residency and the company, and then deregister and then buy also the property, or should they buy the property in the beginning when they're still located in the UK? What would you suggest?
It's a tough one, and I guess that's going to be obviously a preference of our side. I mean, me personally, when I moved here, I knew I'd be happy here. But I didn't know that my wife and my kids would be. They may not have settled in school, you know, obviously I sort of knew they would. I'd already done 3-4 months during COVID, but they may not have. So I naturally didn't sell my home. I obviously rented it out until I know we'd settled. Then a year later, I sold the home and I'm going to buy a villa, you know, but some people may be a bit apprehensive, if that's the term, to buy before they've actually got their visa and their Emirates ID and resided here, because you never know, 6 months later, a year later, might be on a plane going the opposite direction. Yeah, I can't think why anyone would want to leave, personally.
Yeah, no.
But obviously, you never know. Some people do get homes. It might be super, super close to their their grandmother or their mum. And do you know, obviously, some people are like that.
Yeah.
You know, with me, is I'd be like, look, don't worry about it. I'll put them on a plane as much as they need. I ain't leaving.
Yeah. So when you had the property and then you sold it, you said after a year?
Yeah. I rented it out for a year.
You had to pay taxes on that?
Yeah, I had to.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is no one can hold me to this, but it's a genuine rule of thumb. The way I see property in relation to tax, I feel you pay tax realistically where the asset is, not where you are. Same as like with income tax, capital gains, etc. You tend to pay that tax where you're a tax resident, which is naturally where you predominantly reside. Whereas with properties, especially, I know this is a fact in the UK, you know, if I had rental properties, investment properties in the UK and I sold it and there was gains, I'd pay capital gains tax in the UK. If I rent out properties in the UK, I pay income tax on my rental properties. Do you see? And that's the genuine rule in and around properties within reason. If they're in your individual name, sure. Of course, if you've got properties owned in corporate entities, they'd be subject to corporate taxes, of course.
Same as, if you're buying a property.
If you bought property here in the UAE and the company owed them properties, it would get there. The tax affairs would be of the company, not of an individual, for sure.
Yeah, if you're renting it or selling it again,
renting or selling it, the company makes a gain, or the company receives rental income because the company owns that asset, and an individual and a company are two separate legal entities, you know, and therefore you're protected or separated by the terms called the corporate veil. Yeah. The technical term.